Hello everyone and welcome back to a new update brought to you by Banda Casciavit International. A lot has happened in the last week and there is a lot of content out there that we created that we wanted to share with you. So you know what's going on in the AC Milan world. But let's start with the first topic which is like fresh from today. Italy has just allowed the new rule that basically considers UK players part of the European Union. As a result of that, players like Loftus-Cheek are not going to be considered players from abroad, which frees up a spot for AC Milan. While we like this, we also understand that it could create a lot of issues because teams have planned their markets based on the old rules. And it would be nice if a new rule that is introduced for soccer teams could actually apply from the next season. But it is what it is. AC Milan can now buy one more player from abroad, and let's see if they're gonna use that slot or if they're gonna save it for January. A few interesting things have been noticed during the friendlies against Lumesane and Real Madrid. First off, we are noticing that our midfield is much more muscular and dynamic. This is not by chance. Pioli wants this kind of players. And it kind of highlights the fact that there is a lot of work that still needs to be done to find the right synergies among midfielders and strikers. However, we can already see how we are shooting more and now we are more dangerous for the opponent teams. In addition to that, we can also see how the midfielders are becoming much more active as a box to box solution for the team. So it is very interesting to see how we are going to complete this transfer market, considering that we are missing a midfielder and a left back to complete the team, potentially also a striker. And in addition to what we just said, we can now buy a player that is not necessarily from Europe. So let's see how the team is going to take up on that. And a big round of applause to our own Andrea Schiassi from Banda Casciavit. We interviewed Italian personality Michele Tossani about Moneyball, and this interview was actually picked up by Milan News, which made an article about the topic. I'm going to read you a few pieces of this interview because it is very interesting. Meanwhile, it seems like it's something that has just been discovered, but it dates back to 2012. This use of data for market analysis it's not a novelty in sport in general, nor it is a novelty in football. It is a novelty, however, for Italian football because we have always lagged behind. And then we need to be clear about it because we don't know precisely who claims to use this data for market and how much they actually rely on this data. We also need to understand the type of data that they're reading. We are indeed talking about big data, in-depth and specific information produced by specialized providers. It is evident that if I look at the ownership of Milan, which is the same as Toulouse, and Toulouse is operating with Moneyball philosophy, bringing the team back to Ligue 1, saving themselves and winning the French Cup. Other teams are also looking for less known names, partly because in Italy we can't afford the same market strategies that were used up to 20 years ago. However, we need to also understand how they reach a football player. Then, when I read all the top teams are after Morata, who has been playing at high level for 10 years, it doesn't seem comparable to what AC Milan is doing. Milan seems to have made a very specific choice, even with decision not to call up players like Rebic, Origi, and Ballo-Touré. These players are on the way out, and there was a need to replace them, even in terms of numbers. Then there is the matter of the type of players coming to Milan. They are all players with future potential. They are players that, if they do not perform well, you can resell at a price that won't make you lose money. On the other hand, if they do well, they could make you regret less selling players like Liao in the futures, as you have replacements in house. Or you could directly resell the next Pulisic. They are not 30-year-olds with 5 years contracts as other teams do. Unfortunately or fortunately, football is also a business, and so fans or analysts must consider these aspects as well. According to what the coach says, the analysts identify a series of profiles, which will then be further discussed with the coach. Alternatively, there might be a situation where the analysts find various profiles, and among them, the club identifies the one that is economically acceptable, and then they acquire and present it to the coach. The fact that Pioli essentially rejected the market last year means that the profiles acquired last year were not agreed upon with the coach, while I believe that this year Pioli has a more central role. And thank you so much, everyone, for listening in. Don't forget to follow Banda Casciavit and Banda Casciavit International on Twitter and YouTube. Thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to the next update with you.